The effects of Donald Trump's tariffs are now coming into effect. And people in the United States are going to be feeling it. Bigly, you could say. Hey, well, yeah, please beat the old like button. But it has to be said that it was feckin' obvious. And I've been talking about, amongst others as well, that you would be heading into a recession, if not a stagflation, where you have negative growth and inflation. You see, tariffs can cause inflation because the cost of everything goes up. Now, unfortunately, it's always the little people that get hurt. It's always the ordinary folk who cannot afford their shopping bills. And I've been seeing and watching so many videos of individuals, which I'll share on this channel, who are struggling now. They can't afford the bills because they have to feed their children. In some cases, products have gone up not just by double, in some cases 3 times more expensive. Obviously people can't afford this. 4 bags of shopping costing $300. This is just a direct result of Donald Trump's tariffs, pushing the cost of everything up. Yes, some businesses are deciding to eat the tariffs for now just to hold on to their market share, but something has to give. And they generally do eventually, once they know what the score is. And they know what the score is now. They know what the tariffs are going to be applied and what so-called non-deals have been agreed. Just verbal agreements, really. And Moody's has now, well, said that the United States is teetering in a full-blown recession. They've also said, though, that you don't really know when you're in a recession until you're in a recession. Now, in the UK, for instance, we would say if you had 2 quarters of negative growth, you're in a technical recession. We had one just over a year ago, a technical recession. This idea that putting tariffs on is going to gain a whole load of money, bring money in from abroad, and also new jobs from abroad, manufacturing and businesses relocating and building factories in the United States. Yeah, some might do it. But as a whole, it's a whole load of bollocks. It really is. You see, these businesses look at it, do we pay one tariff or do we pay multiple tariffs for all the components for manufacturing, for instance? Well, it makes sense to pay one. See, the administration of all that ends up being more expensive than the actual extra tariffs they might be paying because they're paying it on the final object, item. Now, Moody's have said with their analytics chief economist Mark Zandi followed up his earlier warning that the economy is on the brink of a recession on Sunday, and it was just yesterday. He pointed out that the start of a recession is often not clear until after the fact. Yes, for now the jobs data don't signal a recession yet, but more than half of US industries are shedding workers. That is a telltale sign that something is very, very wrong. When you are shedding workers that you have paid to train up, workers that you potentially trust and have relied on for a period of time, and now you're going to get rid of them, knowing full well you're going to have to spend a huge amount of money again training up new workers in the future because they're not going to necessarily come back, are they? I don't think that these jobs will ever come back. I'll explain in this video in a moment, but while you have, please boot the old like button. Now, when you look at the job numbers, like for instance, payrolls only expanded 77,000 last month. I'll get my information from Fortune, just so you know. There you go. 73,000 last month, which was well below the forecast, which were about 100. If I remember right, about 100,000. May's tally as well was revised, wasn't it? I don't know if you heard about that. They said it was 144,000, but then that was slashed to 19,000. And June's total was slashed from 147,000 to just 14,000. So what does Donald Trump do? Well, he decides he's going to get himself a new person to do the counting. Yeah, he got rid of the woman who was providing the numbers and replaced it with a sycophant. In fact, he had that sycophant as somebody he knew from somewhere before. You know, they're all just... They're just people that like to a bit of suckling on Donald Trump's chocolate starfish, you know, that kind of ilk. Just like the geezer who was standing there in the White House last week with his big bar graphs. Just graphic lies, effectively. Now, why I say it's that these jobs aren't going to come back is for multiple reasons. One is a lot of these industries won't come back. Once they're settled abroad, or they've changed their supply lines to suit, they ain't coming back. But also, industries that were employing in the United States and they've decided to get rid of people are now going to be weighing up their options. And this is going to be a make or break. This is survival of these industries, of these businesses, these companies that they might have been, founded by the family 100 years ago or something, and now Donald Trump has put them on the verge of bankruptcy. So they have to do something. They have no choice. So what they're going to do is they're going to diversify. And there's various ways they can do that. They can completely and utterly relocate their factory, invest the money abroad. So that's a negative effect of these tariffs. Have an opposite effect of what Donald Trump seems to think they will do, bring businesses back into the United States. So it's never going to happen. But also, we've got AI, haven't we? Whereas before, it'd be very difficult for them to get rid of people because obviously alimony and all that, they've got to pay, they've got to pay money out. Means they're going to have to get rid of people anyway. If they do need to bring people back, or they do decide to just have a bit of a jiggle about, you see, you can't just sack somebody and employ somebody different doing the same job, can you? There are laws around that. I don't know about the United States, but in the UK, for instance, and the EU, there are laws regarding employing new people to do the same job of the person you just sacked. You can't do that. It's unfair dismissal. Yeah, okay, you can change the name of that bit of that role or something like that, which is quite often the case that happens. You change the name of the position. But for these industries, they're going to diversify, they're going to adapt and use AI. There's a lot of these roles that were done by people who are now just, they've been sacked, been shedded, can be done by AI. Now, I mentioned in the past about my son-in-law who basically cracks software and finds flaws in software and stuff like that. Tests it. He lost his job or his contract. So your self-employed contract with because of AI. And it's actually really hard for those who have done computer sciences now. They got their degrees in computer sciences, which they were told that was a good industry to get into, because it was. Now they can't find jobs. They're being replaced by artificial intelligence. Now, it's not perfect, is it? But it can be used to reduce the amount of load. Maybe, for instance, you might have 100 employees doing a certain job, but now you might be able to get away with 20 or 10. We've even now got machines for soft food, fruits picking and what have you, in controlled environments, mind. Mushrooms, for instance, they're developing robots that can pick mushrooms. Got little sucker things. All done by AI for the selection process, for the picking and stuff like that, you see. Traditionally, it'd been done by humans. But Donald Trump has, he's trafficked all the humans that were doing those jobs, who are working on the farms and what have you. So what do these employers and farmers and factory food employers, what have you, what do? Well, they think so. Well, we should invest in machinery, in technology, in artificial intelligence. They will actually do... This is just going to push them in that direction. So they're going to make the investments, even take out bank loans and God, what else they need to do. This is all about survival now, because of Donald Trump. AI is literally taking so many jobs. I mean, it's frightening now, because this transition is fast. It's rapid. You've got AI designing AI plugins. You've got AI designing, writing code. It's not perfect yet, but it's, at what point do we say enough is enough? At what point do we as a people say, hang on, we're not happy about this? See, I'm not happy with AI content, for instance. It's shit. How many people have been watching AI content or seen it come in their feed? Oh, for God's sake, that's AI. Scroll past it. Because it's crap. It is so artificial. So artificial. It has no soul. I actually think maybe this is an opening for more people, more creators to treat it as an opportunity, because I think people will crave people. They're not going to crave code, are they? AI code. Some artificial... Who craves that shit? Something wrong with your head if you're craving that. People will crave people. They want to be around people. Anyway, that's my thought on that. I don't think this job's going to come back. I really don't. I think once this transition has been fully realised, that these businesses are going to just take complete and utter advantage of it. And this recession is going to be a hard one in the United States, because it's going to be topped by so much other stuff. And you know as well as I do, when food prices, for instance, go up, do they ever come down? Really? If it's inflation triggered, they don't come down, do you? Because you need deflation, When does that happen? Very rarely. So this could be the new norm. And while Donald Trump is in power, it's not going to get better. It's going to get worse. People will not be able to afford anything. They will not be able to feed themselves. I believe, from what I can see in the figures and some of the articles I've been reading, and I agree with some of them as well, but they're saying that 60% of the US States people, or American people in the United States, that they're going to go bankrupt. They're going to lose their homes. That could be you. And those greedy ass feckers who have caused all this will come in and they'll swoop them all up. They'll buy all the houses cheap. They'll buy all the office buildings cheap. They're empty. That's what they'll do. And redevelop them. This is a takeover by the billionaires, headed by Donald Trump, AIPAC, Heritage Foundation, Project 2025 basically, and all those funding them. All those who dropped on their knee and had a good old suckle on Donald Trump's chocolate starfish. At your expense. When are you going to stand up against it? I know there's the protests and what have you, which are great. And I will be publicising them as much as I can. But it's not enough. It just isn't enough. Something needs to be done before it's too late. I actually think it's already too late. Something should be done 3 months ago. But there you go. Just my thoughts. Am I right? Leave in the comments down below. But also, we just turned on the community posts. So you can actually post in the community section, which is just, normally I could just put posts on there, but now you can. So it can only be done via your mobile app, and you need to have been a subscriber for at least a week. And then you can post stuff on there. But, you know, any obviously rubbish, as in people being stupid on there, obviously they're not going to be there for long. But, you know, it's a great way to contact us if you want me, if there's any news that you'd like me to cover. If you know of a protest that's happening, I'll cover it. I'll do my best to anyway. Anyway, leave it down in the comments down below. I'd be interested to know, you know. So anyway, I did try to make this video earlier, but my granddaughter was with me, my little one, and she was being so silly, I had to stop. I mean, just saying really inappropriate, weird stuff about poop and bumholes. It's probably my fault. But anyway, toodaloo.